I'd like to share with you 5 experiences that I've had along the path of self-realization. Now, none of these actually started to come to fruition until I turned within. Prior to turning within, it was all conceptual knowing, and conceptual knowing is not direct experience. So once you turn within and start to rest in and as yourself in self-inquiry, do these types of experience start to come through you, and there's an alignment with the message. Because most likely, before you turned within, you have gained a lot of conceptual knowledge about non-duality or Advaita Vedanta. And now, by turning within, you're starting to experience that knowledge directly. And this is where you could say the aha moments are coming into play, that these teachings of current teachers and past sages are actually leading to the truth. And that is the primary purpose of all of this, of all turning within, is due to you ending up in a direct experience of peace and happiness themselves, as peace and as happiness. For several years, I had sitting next to my bed non-dual scriptures, and from time to time, I would peer into them to try to understand them. Books like the Tao Te Ching and the Bhagavad Gita are a couple examples of this. And I would peer into them, and I would read several sections, and I honestly didn't get it. And I longed for understanding what these sacred texts were saying. And it wasn't until I turned within that the understanding of what these books were saying came through me. There was clarity in them. I just knew what they meant, even though I might not be able to describe it in words. And so it's this clarity of scriptures that seemed to be one of the very first indicators that the turning within was leading to a difference, and that difference was understanding. As you start to come in line with the message of non-duality, of the message of knowing yourself, there is this inherent knowing that this is the truth. Like, there is a body of knowledge that leads to clarity, that leads to peace. And when that is started to be experienced, you start to get these sensations and these feelings that come through you of deep gratitude and love, that this is the answer. There is an answer. And the answer is myself. It is the one that resides in me as I am. And at first, these come through you. They could be tears of joy. They could be outbursts of laughter. Or they could just be pauses of awe. You just rest in this awness that can't be described, but it is a warming place that you long for. It could also lead to media type expressions. You could start to do podcasts or videos, or you could write a book. A lot of people start to write poems, and if you look at some of the comments that I have on YouTube, some people will just post their love poems, and that happened here. I'm not a poet, but when this started to be experienced, I started writing poetry. I just couldn't believe it. It was just how I had to express it at the time. I didn't know any other way. So it's these outpourings of love and gratitude just come through you because you just realized that this is the truth. The more you sink deeper and deeper into self, the more self starts to shine through. And self has no reactivity to it. It accepts everything as it is. And you start to experience this. You lose your inner efforts, your inner urges to react to certain situations. For instance, if somebody cuts you off at the light and it raised this irritation within you to a certain level, over time, if somebody cuts you off at the light, that just goes halfway, and then maybe 25% until it drops to 0. And that's what's known as peace, when there's no reactivity within you to the situation at hand, regardless on how negative it is. You could say this is the word equanimity being experienced directly. In general, life just gets easier because there isn't a mechanism within you, that mechanism being the sense of individualism, that wants to judge everything, that has biases and beliefs, and it's constantly juggling these beliefs and judgments relative to the situation at hand. So there's a lot of energy happening trying to judge it and square it up and make it right or make it better than it is. And it just drops away and goes to 0. And everything just is as it is. And that is another way of saying you are experiencing immense peace directly. You're totally accepting what is for what it is, and in that's known as happiness. And overall, there's just total clarity. There's not clarity of something. There's just clarity. And within that clarity, life happens. If this is clarity, life is happening in this clarity. Clarity could also just be known as peace and contentment. I like to say it's total sanity. In a world that seems to be going mad, you are experiencing, you're perceiving that the world as sane, even if it appears it's going mad. And again, this is the ultimate goal. When the sense of individualism, when the sense of person dissipates, it dissipates into clarity. So this is agitation, and it's agitation dissipating into total sanity. These are but a few experiences. There have been countless other subtle experiences that I could not describe to you, but I know them inherently as the truth. This is why I can't express enough of turning within. None of these happened prior to surrendering to myself and resting in and as myself. This is why it's so important to turn within on this path, is because it's the only way for you to experience the truth inherently and directly. And this place of self is the place of peace and contentment.